So we have started baking our own breads, and I just finished cutting up the fresh bread which I baked right now. I thought I'll just give a backstory of why I decided to start baking my own breads. I'm not a baking person. I don't enjoy baking a lot. Previously, before we started baking, we used to eat the store-bought breads, and me and my husband, we were discussing how even when you keep the breads for so long, they never go bad. And we were talking about like what kind of preservatives they must be adding into it for it to stay how we bought it for so long. And that kind of led us to buy bread making machine. We bought that. I started baking my own breads. Now it was not perfect bread from the first day. Like the first time when I made the bread, I followed exactly the recipe. I watched some YouTube videos. There was a recipe book which came along with the bread maker. I followed exactly the recipe, the measurements and everything. First loaf of bread which I made, it was so dense and it was so harder than it should be. I thought, oh, it's a failure, but I did not give up. I kept trying. I kept tweaking my recipes. I kept watching videos, looking at what could be the reason not rising enough. Some suggested to add additional gluten, so we bought store-bought gluten and we added that to the next recipe. Someone suggested to add a little bit of baking powder into your bread, which will help it to rise a little bit more. Some suggested to reduce the proportion of the flour and increase water a little bit, so the dough would be softer. One by one, tested all of those. Must be the sixth one which I have baked, and it has turned out to be perfect. Like, this is exactly love how you it's soft, it's porous. The first one which I made, like, there were no pores in it, and I was like, what is this? Is this how it is going to be? And so I have perfected the recipe. And obviously I'm not here to boast about how perfect breads I make. The only reason I am talking about this is because I talk to so many people who ask me that about the business, that what if it doesn't work, what if I fail, what if it doesn't work for me, what if I can't do it. I would compare it to exactly the process I went through of making the bread. The first time when I made the bread and it did not work out, it became this hard loaf. Was that a failure? Did I fail at baking a bread? I don't think so. I tried it again. I changed something. I tweaked my recipe. I made some changes here and there. I tried again. It was not perfect the second time. I tried again. Not perfect the third time. Made some changes. Tried again. And now the sixth time, I'm happy with the result. And yeah, it's a success, right? Similarly with the business, if you get started, you're not going to see instant success from the first day. You're not going to get instant results the first time you start working on it, run your marketing campaigns. You're not going to just start flying in your business. And it might feel like a failure. See, in this case also, the first loaf which did not turn out good, had I said, no, it's not for me, I can't bake breads, I would have gotten rid of the machine. I would have stopped baking. I tried, it did not work out for me, it's not for me. That would have been a failure. Why? Because I quit. That would have been a failure. If you continue trying, if you make changes, and eventually you will see the results, because the recipe is perfect. The recipe works for everyone who tries it. It's just about finding the right parts, finding the right proportions, and what works for you, for your each bread machine is different. The weather, humidity, there's a lot of factors which are different in my kitchen. Similarly, when you start your business, there are so many variables which are different. Your case is different. When I started my business, the situations I was facing, my family situation, my financial situation, the time which I have in my hand, how much I can give to my business, all of these are variables which differ from person to person. So you cannot compare one person's journey with someone else, right? The only thing which I want to say here is there is no such thing as failure in the business. The only time when you will fail, and when you start the business and when you will fail, would be when you give up. If you do not give up, if you tweak something, if you change something, take the support which you have here, I am here. There are so many other coaches, strategists, mentors, who resources, masterminds, just so much help and support over here. You take all of that, learn from it, implement that to your business, try different strategies and keep tweaking things till you find the perfect recipe that works for your business. That's when you succeed, and it takes perseverance. I was disappointed, I was sad when my first loaf was not perfect, but that's how everything is. You have to persevere, you have to keep on trying till the time you find your perfect recipe. I hope this is helpful and this is inspiring for anyone who had this kind of doubt and had this question of, what if I fail? You can't fail. Unless you quit, you cannot fail, in the business, in life, in anything.